All right, so we're here with Tony Tucker from Tucker Speed.
Yeah.
And getting a tour of the shop and seeing all the different types of stuff you do. So you have a race bike. I don't know what the circuit's called.
So there's a couple circuits at this point, but I race in the Bagger Racing League, or BRL for
Okay.
short. So that's where I race. Have been racing for 3 years now. So yeah, that's my BRL bike.
And then you almost have like a twin next to it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to build, a street version of that bike.
Mm-hmm.
So we painted it the same, just kind of did the white instead of the black. But this one's street legal, still has all the lights and everything. That one is completely stripped down. If it doesn't need to be there, we ditched it.
It's gone. So which bike is faster?
That's definitely got way more motor in it.
Oh, does it?
It's got way more motor in it, yeah.
What size motor's in the race bike?
This one is a 128.
Oh,
It makes about 165 horse.
dang.
And this one is a 124, makes about 120 horse, 125, I think. And this is like a mild build, like stock heads, mild cam, just a big bore.
124, so you consider that a mild build?
Well, I mean, the Milwaukee 8, this bike started life as a 107.
Okay.
It's, when you're talking M8 versus, twin cam or Evo, yeah, 124 is mild. And 124 is kind of like a 103 in the twin cam era.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Yep.
if you're trying to compare apples to oranges, I pretty much was running out of money at that point.
Trust me, I understand how that goes.
Yeah, between this one and this one right now, the race bike is in pretty rough shape right now. It's been laid down, beat up.
Well, and I see that you're limping.
And my leg is beat up. Yeah. I hurt my leg on my tracker. I'll show you the tracker.
Okay.
It's in the back. It's still beat up from when I wrecked. I broke my leg, and that was 6 months ago.
Oh, dang.
Labor Day weekend last year.
So you just put it aside for now.
I just put it in the back.
Screw that bike right now.
Yeah. So it's all still, the bars are bent and stuff on it, but yeah, I got these sitting in the showroom here. Just kind of some eye candy as you walk in.
Okay.
And a lot of people ask me, like, what's the top speed? And, honestly, 150 is not scary. What's scary is, like, the hairpin turn at the end of that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you're not doing the 150 through the hairpin. You're having to dramatically brake before you get to it, right?
Right. And that's the scary part.
Yeah.
Because it's not just like let's just leisurely slow down and go through the corner. It's like hold 150 for as long as you can, pull on the brakes as hard as you can as you're starting to turn.
Oh, hell
and
no.
Try and make that.
Hell no. Yeah.
That's when it gets scary.
You're dragging your knee around corners.
Yeah.
Like one of those sport bikes.
Yeah.
On a bagger.
On a bagger. Well, and this bike sits 5 inches taller than a normal bagger.
Holy cow.
It's picked up 5 inches.
I didn't notice that until you actually said that. It really is. It's pretty high up.
It's pretty tall. And this bike's actually, because it's got some fake suspension in it,
Yeah.
It's actually squatted down quite a bit.
Oh.
It shouldn't squat that far, but.
Huh.
And as high as this stuff is, I still drag all this.
Good hell. So you're dragging that bag?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, let's go over this bike. Tell us what obviously it was kind of race bike inspired.
Yeah, but this is, kind of your new age performance bagger, but still street legal.
And that's basically what you guys specialize down at Tucker Speed, right?
Yeah.
It's like a performance bagger stuff.
Baggers, all performance related stuff to whatever kind of Harley, whether you're riding an FXR, a Dyno, Softail, Sportster, whatever, but very performance driven.
Okay.
It's kind of what we.
And you have jet packs on this one?
Yeah.
I like the jet packs.
That's what people think they are, but no. And that bike actually has them.
Oh, really?
Normally, they're just, one of my brackets when I wrecked the last time broke off, so it's just chilling. It's wrapped up in a rag inside of a.
Nice.
See, this bag's all wire tied back together because it got exploded. Like I said, that bike's in rough shape.
Well, but if you're racing it, it should be. You should be using it.
I mean, it is a race bike.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, I like to make it, and I put that bike in bike shows, and won awards in bike shows with
Yeah.
that bike, but it's still a race bike, and that's its primary purpose, not a show bike.
And actually, real quick, before we go on to your other bike,
What is it?
what the hell is this? I mean, I'm assuming it's to help keep you in the pocket, but
Yes. So, it's basically, so if you look at my foot controls, where the foot controls are at,
you're back pretty far.
I'm basically running where the passenger peg normally is.
Oh, damn.
So that my feet are, you know, when I'm riding, I'm in a sport bike, you know, setup.
Yep.
And then when I'm sitting on that bike, I would get on there, but I don't know if my leg would let me. When I'm leaning off the corner, you hook your knee underneath that.
Okay.
As you lean off, you kind of use that, you know, to you know, your knee sits here.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you can use that to kind of hold on to the bike.
Oh, all right.
Everything on this is for a purpose. Everything on this bike is, I mean, it's performance, but it's also, you know, to look good and to be pretty and everything. So, I mean, but this bike's got it all. I stripped it to the frame, powdered the frame, painted everything to match. It's got nice suspension up front. Those aren't, you know, what'd you call them?
Jetpacks?
Jetpacks, yeah, they're not jetpacks. Just the remote reservoir for the rear shocks.
Okay.
So high-end suspension front and rear. It's got a high-end swing arm. It's got aftermarket wheels. It's got performance brakes. And the other thing too is the baggers have different genres within bagger too. I mean, you could have, you know, like performance bagger, kind of.
Oh, like cholo baggers,
Cholo
and yeah.
baggers,
Okay.
you know, big wheel baggers. You know, all kinds of different things you can do with baggers.
Do you get very many big wheel baggers in here?
Not really.
Yeah.
There's still a few that kick around, but not a ton.
I love it.
Yeah.
Teach their own.
We take a spare motor to the race.
How long does it take you to put in a motor?
At Daytona, that motor took a crap,
Uh-huh.
and we had a motor swapped in about 6 hours.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Years.
Now, have you taken your wife on the race bike?
No.
What the hell? You don't want to go?
I barely get on the other.
Fair enough. All right, let's see what else. Well, and so here's your showroom.
This is our kind of our showroom.
A retail showroom.
A lot of, you know, all our merch and some parts hanging on the wall and our front counter and, you know, yeah. So this is the showroom, front showroom. This
Okay.
is kind of our secondary showroom, if you will, / podcast room / catch-all. I mean,
Okay.
but I got a couple bikes back here. One's not mine. Let me move this other bike. Let's push this one out of the way. This is a painter friend named Paige. Her bike that we're doing some work on.
Who did the paint? Adam?
Actually, she did. She's a painter.
Really?
Her shop is called 𝐖𝐄𝐁𝐒𝐈𝐓𝐄,
Okay.
and she painted it herself. I mean, that's what she does for a living. She paints motorcycles.
She did a good job.
That's her paint job. This is my Road King. Most people don't know it's a Road King because it doesn't look like a Road King anymore. It looks more like an FXR. I chopped the rear section off and rebuilt it with, that's actually a Sportster rear fender.
Okay.
FXR fairing, high-end front inverted forks, high-end brakes, big motor. Well, I shouldn't say big because the other ones are big. That's a 98-inch motor.
Okay. Now, is this, and I could be wrong, but is this the bike that kind of started you down the performance part of the bagger stuff?
Yes.
Because I thought so.
Yeah, this bike I built in 2019, and it really was kind of my first. I mean, that's not true. I mean, I was doing performance stuff, but this bike kind of catapulted me. This bike got a lot of attention, kind of nationally.
Yeah.
Won some shows and got put in some, you know, some magazines and stuff, and kind of put my name out there on a national level.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of accredit the bike to that. So yeah, and it's just something because the transformation, like if you could see a before photo of this bike, you know, it's crazy.
Well, if you're looking at it from the outside, I mean, I saw the whole transformation of this bike happen. But if you wouldn't have known, like you said, that it was a Road King.
You wouldn't not know
Yeah,
what it
I mean,
is.
it just kind of looks like a bigger FXR for some reason.
And that's essentially what it is. And it's funny because like believe it or not, the paint is custom paint. But I painted it this way to look stock.
Yep.
For a reason. And everybody always asks like, well, why do you give it a custom paint job? I'm like, well, it is custom. But
Yeah.
And the story behind the paint, why I chose this paint, is the Road King, the very first Road King came out in '94.
Okay.
And it came out in this black and gray two-tone. And this is how the Road King paint scheme played out for years. This like dark over light two-tone, and this is like the Road King logo.
Okay.
So I kind of was like, all right, well, if I'm going to kill a Road King and chop it up, I'll kind of pay homage to the Road King and paint it like a Road King, but then kind of wrap it up into an FXR.
I dig it. And that red just pops that black and gray.
Yeah, that kind of candy red. It's even crazier in the sun, but yeah.
I dig it.
And this bike's custom too.
Does this bike do wheelies?
It can.
Sweet. Yeah, I like those rims too.
The rims are crazy. I mean, I put a lot of time and money into this bike too. But yeah, let's walk in the back.
Okay.
We'll sneak through here. Let's sneak through the parts room. It's after hours in here. All the bikes are kind of pushed in. Everybody's gone home. But this is the shop where all
Man,
the magic happens.
that bike right there is really good looking.
Which one are you putting out? The blue one?
No, that orange one up there on the stand.
Oh yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good looking
that's a
bike.
really good looking bike.
I like that orange. Especially the guy that rides it's pretty cool. Yeah. So back here is where I keep the rest of my stuff. This is even further back into the depths of Tucker Speed. This is my dyno room. This is my tracker.
Is this the one that
This
jacked
is
up
the
your
one that
leg?
killed my leg.
Is that just a stock front Harley frame and then you guys built the rear section?
No, the rear section is also stock, and that's what gave
What?
this. That's why this bike got some attention. It's just that is 100% stock Sportster frame.
All of this?
All of that. You just never
What
see
the
any
hell?
of it because there's always that space, kind of like my bagger
Yeah.
up front. I removed everything out of it.
No crap.
And normally, so like on the Sportster, underneath there you would have an oil tank.
Yep.
You'd have a battery hanging off the side. All the electronics are down in there, and there is a little teeny box up underneath there. You can see that's where my battery sits.
Okay. Well, that's a little battery then.
It's a little teeny lithium battery.
Huh.
The electronics on this bike's pretty minimal.
What
And
year
then I built
Sportster is it?
This is a 2001.
Okay.
And then I built this custom oil tank and tucked it up in the frame there.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's why this bike. Everybody looks at it and they're like, "Oh, what is that frame?" They've never seen anything like that with that open space. It looks very racy and stripped down, and everybody's like, "What is it?" And I'm like, "Well, it's just a Sportster."
Huh. Your dyno.
Yeah.
Dyno.
Dyno.
Yeah, dyno. So can anybody bring any type of bike down here?
I really only tune Harley Davidsons.
Okay.
And that's just what I specialize in, and I just try and stick to it so I can do it as best I can.
Amen.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So for any customers watching this, he's fully certified down here to do whatever this does.
It does a lot.
It does.
It does do a lot. This is basically my office. I live in here every day.
Tony, tell me what got you into motorcycles.
Oh man, it's tough because like I have a photo hanging in my office over here of a 3-year-old me sitting on a Power Wheels
Okay.
motorcycle.
Yeah.
Cowboy boots, flake helmet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At 3. I don't know if that was necessarily the start. I mean, I was definitely always into bikes. And then as kind of a younger kid, early teen, I was really into BMX.
Okay.
I was a BMX kid.
Yep.
I skated a little bit, but BMX was my thing. I just liked 2 wheels.
Yeah.
And BMX kind of transitioned into motocross when I was about 14.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of that is I was always into racing. When I was about 12, my dad got me into RC car racing.
Oh, yeah.
That was the very first thing I ever raced was an RC car.
Okay.
Loved it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I mean, you know, buying a kit. I remember the day my dad bought me an Associated RC10 buggy. We sat in the basement and built the buggy together, and then I went and raced it. We raced it on weekends. It was in the basement of that place. There was an RC car track.
Oh, that's
Like
pretty
back
rad.
in the 90s,
Yeah.
early 90s.
Now I wonder why they got rid of the Chuck E. Cheese.
That place was scary, bro. I mean,
Chuck E. Cheese is scary in general.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I saw a conspiracy theory on Chuck E. Cheese that any leftover pizza, that they would actually save it and add it into another whole pizza. And then they would offer like, oh, you could get pepperoni, you know, half pepperoni, half pineapple, but they was just
taking
people's leftovers.
And
yeah.
good business.
I mean, it makes sense, no waste. You like choppers, what got you into the bagger thing?
I think racing and performance,
Okay.
honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I never had a bagger until it was cool to put tall suspension and make it go fast. I was never really into baggers when it was like make them low and put a big wheel on them. Like that wasn't ever my thing back in the, you know, early 2000s or whatever. It wasn't until I could make them go fast that I was like,
Oh, that's
baggers
cool.
are cool. Man.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, your Road King that we already shot, I want to say, at least from my knowledge, and I could be wrong, it's not my world yet, but you built that before there was like a bagger racing series.
Yes.
Because I never saw any bagger racing until after you built that, and I think maybe started building one of your other bikes, but I'm like, oh, there's like a bagger racing series, and then you're doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, performance baggers, I think that trend started 2016, 2017. Not in Utah, just around the country.
Okay.
Started kind of funneling here. I think I'm the one who brought performance baggers to Utah.
No, I say that's a true statement. Yeah.
And yeah, I built that bike, and even still, people are like, "What is it?" You know what I mean? And I had a Road Glide before I had these other bikes. I had a 2008 Road Glide that I had suspension, I had T-bars, I had a 2-into-1 Thunderheader, like very performance. And that was back in that was when I opened the shop, like 2014, 2015. It was really early.
Yeah.
Because I was just seeing trends around and I was like, man, that's so cool. Like seeing it around the country. So I did it here, and at that time I was putting T-bars on a Road Glide, and it was like unheard of in Utah. And everybody's like, "You're doing what?"
Yeah. Kid, let's say a 17-year-old kid came in here and was talking to you and said, "Hey, you know, I really want to get into baggers and stuff like that." What would you tell him? Like, what direction would you point him in?
A 17-year-old kid. Get a job and start saving money.
The
bagger world is expensive.
It is. I'm coming to learn that.
It's crazy money, man. And come in here. I mean, there's some nice bikes. You could buy a mid 2000s or like a 2010, 2012 bagger. You know, shot for a clean one owner type setup. And then start sprinkling some parts on it.
But what direction would you point him? Would you tell him if he wanted a bagger, would you say get a Road Glide, a Street Glide, a Road King? Like, what direction do you think you'd point him?
I mean, I'll say at this time in my life, I'm a Road Glide guy. But I think that the Road Glide is more favorable to the performance side of things. So if he was wanting to buy a bagger, you know, and do performance-related stuff, I would steer him towards a Road Glide. Okay,
so you have 4 kids.
Yep.
A rad wife.
Yep.
And how old are you again? Because I think you're 2 years younger than me, right? 43. Well, I turned 50 this year, so you're a couple years younger than I am.
Yeah.
So at 43 years old, if you could go back in time and talk to your 9-year-old self, what would you tell yourself?
That's deep. You know, it's funny, you know, sitting here, getting interviewed, doing my own podcast, doing my own YouTube channel, and I was talking about this with my mom just over the weekend. If I was to go back in time and look at myself, I was kind of nerdy, socially awkward as a kid. Okay. Very shy. And I would just go back and tell my 9-year-old self, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna get, you know, and looking back, motorcycles are what broke the, you know, kind of broke me out of that. It gave me a confidence that I didn't have before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I found like something that I loved and that I was good at, and I knew that I was good at it, and it gave me a confidence that I had never had before. And at 9 years old, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So just like, I go back to my 9-year-old self, I'd probably be on a BMX bike out dirt jumping, and I would just say, just stick with 2 wheels, man.
Yeah.
You'll get there.
With all the knowledge that you have as well, not just talking to your 9-year-old self, just talking to anyone watching, what's one good solid piece of advice that you could give anybody?
Try and maintain balance in your life. It's been a hard lesson that I think I've learned in the last 7-8 years that I've been here at my shop.
Mm-hmm.
I've poured my heart and soul into this place in the last 7 or 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
I carry a little bit of guilt because I've been a little bit absent in my younger girls' life because of this place. I try, you know, and they're involved. They spend a lot of time here with me, which is great, and I love it. And I hope that they, at one point in their life, look back and appreciate being here with me. But I lost for a while, and I'm getting better at it. I'm trying to fix it, but for a while I lost balance.
Yeah.
Work was the only thing that mattered, and my home life and my kids, you know, to the back seat.
Yeah.
So just keep balance in your life.
That's actually advice I need. Honestly, that's good advice.
I would dare to say it's the same for you. You're so dedicated, so passionate about what you do and trying to be successful that it creates these blinders, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, this matters too to me.
Yeah. Well, one last question I have for you.
Okay.
How do you have such great hair?
I don't know, man. I got lucky.
You do. Well, brother, I appreciate you meeting with me today and showing us the shop.
Yeah.
I look forward to, our friendship, and then obviously we have a business relationship as well. So I appreciate you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
good seeing you.
Everything that happens is motivation.
All right. Now we can get naked. And then you'd rather make power than friends?
Yeah.
That's fair. Good thing we're already friends.
All right. You get grandfathered in.